I don't use my name when I talk about this. It isn't because I'm hiding from anyone. It's because the mountain still knows it, and I don't want it remembering me too clearly. I started hiking when I was 6. Not the kind of hiking where families bring sandwiches and take smiling photos at the top. I mean early mornings, cold breath, frost clinging to rock, long silence, real climbs. My grandfather raised me on slopes before I even understood fear. He used to say, "Mountains don't hurt you, they test whether you deserve to be there." He was one of the best climbers in his time, locally known, respected. There are old photographs of him hanging on rock faces that look vertical, rope around his waist, boots dug into nothing, calm expression. He wasn't reckless, he was precise. He taught me foot placement before multiplication, how to read wind by sound, how to notice when birds go quiet. That last one, I didn't understand until later. My mom hated it. She'd stand by the door while we packed gear. "You're taking him too high," she'd say. He'd shrug. "He's steady." She'd look at me like she was measuring how much of me she might lose. I thought she was dramatic. Now I understand her silence better. When I turned 18, I decided to do my first solo overnight hike. Same mountain my grandfather trained on. He couldn't go anymore. Arthritis in his hands, knees not what they used to be. He tried to hide it, but I could see it. So I told him I'd do it alone. He looked at me for a long time before answering. "Don't camp past the tree line," he said. That was it. No explanation, just that. The first part of the hike felt familiar, almost comforting. Gravel under boots, wind combing through pine, distant river somewhere below. Everything looked the way it always had, but something felt slightly rearranged. You know that feeling when you walk into your room and something small is moved? Not enough to name it, but enough to notice. That's how the forest felt. I told myself I was overthinking. First solo trip. Nerves, that's normal. I kept climbing. Around mid-afternoon, I noticed something strange. No birds. Not fewer. None. No wing flutter, no calls, no distant rustle. Just wind. I stopped walking. Listened. Nothing. My grandfather's voice surfaced in my head. "When birds go quiet, pay attention." I stood there longer than I'd like to admit. Then I laughed at myself. Predator nearby, maybe a fox. Maybe I was the predator. I kept going. By evening, I had reached just below the tree line, and I remembered what he said. "Don't camp past it." I looked up. The open slope above looked harmless. Just rock and grass, clear sky, clean horizon. I hesitated. Then I told myself something stupid. He probably just didn't want me exposed to wind. I climbed past it, just a little higher. That decision still sits in my chest like a stone. I set up camp near a cluster of large rocks, the kind that break wind but don't fully block it. Sunset was slow and beautiful. Orange bleeding into blue. I recorded a short video on my phone, sent it to my mom. "Still alive?" She replied instantly. "Come down before dark." I ignored that too. Night fell gradually. Temperature dropped faster than I expected. I made a small meal, sat outside my tent, and that's when I noticed the second thing. The wind wasn't consistent. It came in pulses, almost like breathing, slow, then stronger, then gone. I told myself mountains create weird drafts. I've studied enough geography to know that. Still, it didn't feel random. It felt timed. Around 10 p.m., I went inside the tent, zipped it shut, lay down. At some point, I drifted into shallow sleep, and then a sound. Not loud, not dramatic,
fabric brushing against fabric, like someone gently dragging their hand across the outside of the tent. I froze, listened. Nothing. Probably wind. I didn't move. Minutes passed. Then again, slow, from the left side of the tent, across the back, to the right. Not flapping, not random, continuous, like something tracing it. My throat got dry. I whispered, "Hello?" I don't know why I did that. Silence answered. And then, footsteps, soft, circling. I knew the sound of animals. This wasn't light and quick like deer, not heavy like a bear. Measured, even, human pace, but no crunch of gravel, no branch snap, just pressure in the soil, going around me. My heartbeat got so loud I thought whatever was outside could hear it. I grabbed my flashlight, waited. The steps stopped, right in front of the tent door. I counted to 10, then unzipped it fast. Nothing there. Empty. Moonlight on stone. Open slope. No trees, no cover, just stillness. And that's when I noticed something that didn't make sense. There were footprints, but only one set, leading up to my tent, not away. My stomach flipped, because they weren't mine. They were barefoot. I didn't sleep again. I sat upright against my headbed until sunrise. At first light, I stepped outside. The footprints were still there, pressed deep into dirt. They began about 15 feet away and ended at my tent. No return, no trail leading down, just arrival. I told myself someone was messing with me, another hiker, some weird prank. But why barefoot, at that altitude, at night? I packed quickly, hands shaking more than I wanted to admit. And that's when I saw something that made everything worse. My footprints from the day before. They were gone, like wind had erased them. But the barefoot ones were untouched. I started descending, faster than I should have. Halfway down, I heard something behind me. Not footsteps, breathing, close, too close. I turned. Nothing, but I could feel it. The way you feel someone standing directly behind you in a crowded room, except there was no one. I walked faster. The breathing matched. I stopped. It stopped. I moved. It moved. And then it shifted to my left, still unseen, but there, keeping pace. My thoughts started spiraling. Lack of sleep, altitude, stress. That's all. That's all. That's all. When the tree line came again, birds were back. Suddenly, all at once, calls echoing, branches shaking, normal forest noise. The breathing stopped, just like that, as if it couldn't cross. I made it home by late afternoon. My mom hugged me longer than usual. My grandfather just studied my face. He didn't ask how it went. He asked one thing. "Did you stay below the trees?" I hesitated. That was enough. His expression changed. Not anger, recognition. He nodded slowly, like he had expected it. Then he said something I've never forgotten. "It doesn't like being seen." I didn't ask what he meant. I didn't want him to say it. 3 nights later, I woke up to the same sound, fabric brushing fabric. But I wasn't in a tent. I was in my bedroom, curtains moving, window closed. I sat up slowly, and that's when I noticed dirt on my floor, small, circular, barefoot prints leading from my window to the side of my bed. They stopped right beside me. I didn't move, not because I was brave, because I understood something in that second. If I moved, I would be acknowledging it. And I had the sudden, overwhelming feeling that it was waiting for that. The room felt crowded, not physically, pressure, like the air above me had weight. I kept my eyes fixed on the wall, my breathing shallow, controlled, and then the mattress dipped, slightly, near my legs. Not dramatic, just enough for the fabric to stretch. Something had shifted its weight on the edge of my bed. Every nerve in my body screamed to turn. I didn't, because my grandfather had once told me something strange when I was younger. We were halfway up a ridge, and he had said, almost casually, "If you ever feel watched on a mountain, don't look too fast. Some things react to being recognized." At the time, I thought he meant animals. Now, lying in that dark room, I knew he hadn't. The mattress slowly rose again. Whatever weight had pressed into it, lifted.
The air shifted, cooler, then still. I waited another full minute before I forced myself to move. I reached for the lamp, switched it on. Nothing. Empty room, closed window, curtains unmoving. But the dirt was still there, clear as daylight. 4 steps from the window, 2 beside my bed. No more, no less. And then I noticed something that made my stomach tighten. The prints were smaller than the ones on the mountain, much smaller. These were not adult feet. They were the size of a child's. The next morning, I went straight to my grandfather. I didn't tell my mom. She would have called someone, a priest, a doctor. I needed someone who wouldn't laugh. I told him everything: the tent, the breathing, the missing trail, the footprints in my room. He didn't interrupt once. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and stared at the wall for a long time. Then he asked me something I wasn't prepared for. "Did you ever ask about your uncle?" I frowned. "My mom's brother?" He nodded. I had seen one photo of him growing up, just one. It was always in a drawer, never framed. Young, thin, same mountain behind him. "He went missing when he was 19, my grandfather said. My throat tightened. He went above the tree line. The room felt smaller. He didn't come back." I swallowed. They searched for weeks, found his pack, found his boots. My pulse slowed. Boots? Folded neatly beside a rock. My mouth went dry. No footprints leaving, just his gear and barefoot impressions in the dirt. The world tilted slightly. "Same size?" I asked. He shook his head slowly. "Smaller." That night, I didn't sleep. I sat upright against my headboard, waiting. Around 2:17 a.m., the house went quiet. Not normal quiet, dead quiet. Even the refrigerator hum stopped. That's when I heard it again. Breathing. Not near the window this time. Under the bed. Slow. Patient. I slid off the mattress carefully and back towards the door. The breathing followed my movement, matching my pace. From beneath, like it wasn't crawling, like it was gliding. I reached the hallway and flipped the light on. Silence. I crouched, looked under the bed. Empty. But the floorboards beneath it were wet, as if someone had stood there with damp feet. Small, child-sized. I started researching the mountain. Local archives, old hiking forums, newspaper records. 3 disappearances over 27 years. All young, all male, all last seen above the tree line. And one detail that was never publicly discussed. Each family reported small dirt marks appearing in their homes before the disappearance. I didn't find that in newspapers. I found it in a scanned interview transcript from a retired ranger. He had dismissed it at the time. Grief makes people imagine patterns. Maybe it does, but I wasn't grieving. I was being visited. The breathing stopped appearing under my bed after that week. It moved to the ceiling. At first it was faint, then clearer. Slow exhale, directly above where I lay, as if something was lying flat against the ceiling, watching me from upside down.
The dirt prints began appearing in new places: kitchen tiles, bathroom sink, on my desk. One morning I woke up and found a small barefoot print on the screen of my phone, right over my reflection. And that's when I realized something. The size wasn't random. They were getting bigger, each night, slightly, as if whatever it was growing. I confronted my grandfather again. This time, he looked tired. "I thought it would choose one of the others," he said quietly. "What others?" He didn't answer, just stared at my hands. Then he asked me something that made my stomach twist. "When you were above the tree line, did you feel proud?" I hesitated. "Yes." He nodded once. "That's how it starts." I stared at him. He continued, "The mountain doesn't take people, it replaces them." Cold spread through my chest. What does that even mean? He finally looked at me fully. "It needs something to cross back down." My thoughts scrambled. "You're saying my uncle came back different?" The room spun. He wasn't taken, he was exchanged. I felt like I couldn't breathe. "Then where is he?" My grandfather didn't blink. "Close." That night, I locked my door, blocked the window, pushed my dresser against it. I didn't care how irrational it looked. At 3:04 a.m., the doorknob turned, slowly, deliberately. It stopped halfway. Then, 3 soft knocks, measured, even, the exact rhythm of the footsteps that circled my tent. I didn't answer. The knocks came again, same spacing, like it was reminding me we've walked together before. I stepped closer, against every instinct, and I looked through the crack beneath the door. I wish I hadn't, because what I saw wasn't feet. It was hands, pressed flat on the hallway floor, fingers too long, bending slightly backward, as if the joints worked in reverse. And then a voice, soft, not from outside, from inside the room, behind me. "You went too high." I turned, and for the split second, I saw someone standing beside my bed, barefoot, almost my height, face blurred, but familiar, too familiar, like looking at myself in a moving reflection. And then it was gone. The knocking stopped, the hallway empty. The next morning, my grandfather didn't answer his phone. When we went to his house, his hiking boots were placed neatly beside his door, laces tied, clean. There were small dirt marks leading inside, and only one set leaving, barefoot, almost adult-sized. I don't hike anymore, but that isn't the twist. The twist is this. Last week, I woke up before sunrise, and for the first time in months, there were no footprints, no breathing, no pressure in the room, nothing. I felt relief until I walked past the mirror and saw dirt on my own feet, dry, cracked, as if I had been somewhere higher than trees, and I don't remember leaving the house. You wanted the tension to begin there. It does, because now the question isn't, what is following me? It's, when did it stop following and start being me?